Thanks for joining me. And again tonight, we will devote most of the program to those same two massive ongoing dramas, as you would expect. The tragic and deadly floods hitting Queensland and New South Wales, where lives remain in peril, the rescues continue, and the flooding rains are now heading south. And of course, the unthinkable, brutal and despicable invasion of Ukraine by Russia, where our worst fears could be soon realised, with the invading army seemingly about to lay siege to the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. But while we're on that war in Europe, let me share with you some encouraging, and I'm not being Pollyanna-ish here for sure, because I think the outlook for Ukraine is bleak, and I think the coming days will be horrible. But what is encouraging is to see the way the world is putting pressure on Russia in a range of non-military ways, in commercial and cultural ways. Let's start with soccer. The World Football Body has banned Russia from World Cup qualifiers. As it stands, they'll not be able to play in the next World Cup. Their next game due was to be against Poland, so let's mark that one down as a win for freedom. The International Olympic Committee is urging other sports too to ban Russian teams and competitors. These moves will help put public pressure on Vladimir Putin at home, where already brave Russians have protested against the Ukraine invasion. And this, of course, adds to the news that we discussed here yesterday, where here in Australia, Foxtel has banned Russian state TV, Russia Today, and other companies and countries too are scrapping Russian propaganda. And the cultural screws have been turned the other way around too, with Disney announcing it'll ban the release of movies in Russia. Again, the Russian people won't like this, missing out on the global entertainment giant's latest releases, being treated like their country is a pariah, as it should be. But it gets better, and also for once it shows how social media can actually be put to good use. The Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, Mikhail Fedorov, is the Minister for Digital Transformation too. And with broadband services taken out by Russia during the invasion, he took to Twitter for help, directly lobbying Elon Musk. He said, "You try to colonise Mars while Russia tries to occupy Ukraine. And while your rockets successfully land from space, Russian rockets attack Ukrainian civilians." He then asked Musk to provide Ukraine with Starlink, a satellite broadband service. And it didn't take long for Musk to react. The very next day, he tweeted that Starlink was active in Ukraine and more terminals were on their way. And then just a day after that, Fedorov tweeted a picture of the terminals already there. How they got there must be a story of its own. But props to Musk for helping out in a very practical way very quickly. And props to Fedorov for putting the wood on commercial entities publicly to try and get them to help his country. He put public pressure too on Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, or Meta, to block Russian propaganda. And they responded pretty quickly with some action too. And now he's gone directly to Visa and MasterCard, has Fedorov, calling on them to block their services entirely to Russia. Now, we'll see what happens with that. But no one wants to see war spread any further afield, and any military intervention by the West has to be so carefully considered and calibrated. Essentially, they've left it too late. NATO and others should have been doing more long ago. So it is encouraging to see commercial and cultural interests isolating Russia, making it a pariah, putting the economic squeeze on Russia, not to hurt Russians, but hopefully to undermine Putin's madness and increase the chances of him either seeing sense or coming under extreme pressure at home so that he can lose power somehow before too much more death and destruction is inflicted on innocent people.